Hello friends, welcome once again to our PSD to Flutter tutorial. In this video we are going to see how we can use our WordPress plugin, custom plugin, to fetch data into our Flutter application. In our previous video we learned how to create a WordPress custom REST API plugin which we can use to fetch data from WordPress. So in this video we are going to see how we can use our custom API that we created to fetch the posts into our application. If you see here, we have dummy posts that we have in our application. So we are going to see how we can fetch that data from our REST API that we created, which is this one. Into our Flutter application, I will create a package which is REST API. So inside here we'll create our class which is going to handle all the requests from our WordPress. Let's go on and create a class which will be a .dat file, and this class will call it custom API. So for us to be able to fetch our WordPress posts, we'll need to use our widget which is known as Future. Future widget is a feature which is used to represent a potential value or error that will be available at some time in future. Okay, now having defined what a feature is, for us to be able to fetch data from WordPress REST API, we'll need to use some of Flutter tools, and one of them is HTTP. Flutter provides us with tools such as HTTP package that enable us to make HTTP requests or calls. We'll start by adding the HTTP package into our Flutter application, and two will be making a network request using HTTP package, and three will be converting the response into a data object. So the response that we'll get here will be converting it into a data object. Four will be fetching that data and displaying it into our application. Let's go ahead and start with importing the package. So say import, say package as HTTP. So after importing the package, then we have to make an HTTP network request. HTTP .get. Okay, before we go on, let's first understand what we are doing here. HTTP.get method returns a feature that contains a response. Okay, and as we defined, a feature is a core .dat class that allows us to run our work asynchronously. In other words, it allows us to make HTTP calls using async operations. And also what we have to know that a feature object which we return here represents a potential value or error that will be available at some time in the future. Okay, so that having said, we'll go ahead and define our HTTP. We'll paste in our URL for our REST API URL. Then, and here we'll define some headers like accept only application stock JSON. So those are the headers that we are going to pass into our. So this one will have a variable, we'll name this response, which will equal to await. So we are await for this. Good. So having defined that, the next step is converting the response into a Dart object. So this response we are having here, if it is returned, we need to convert this because this is still a future. We said http.get method returns a future that contains a response, and this is the response which will be returned here. So we need, our next step is converting this response into a Dart object. JSON response will equal to JSON decode. We decode this response, which will be response.body. And after this one, now when we decode this one, it will be converted into a Dart object, which we can then use into our application. So here we'll return. So that having defined, we save and then go to our home page. And then here we go where we define our custom list function, which is this one, custom list widget. And here we have these custom lists that we created. So we'll go ahead and delete all this because we don't need it. Then save. Let's check our application. Good. So this is how our application looks like. So we have one list that we are going to use to populate our application. Okay. So that having said, we'll go ahead and apply a feature here. So we'll create this one. We'll wrap this one into a widget, which will be feature builder. And inside our feature builder, I will first inside our feature builder, we'll have what we call future. So this will handle our future request, and here we'll have to convert this class into a stateful widget for us to be able to handle the state of the application when the data is changed. So the easiest way to change into a stateful widget, we just have to come to here and then just wrap this one into a stateful widget for that time. So here we'll initiate the init state, and here we'll define our variable, which will be Then there we then supply our data API here as our future. Okay, so here we'll define builder, and our builder will take in a context, and we'll take in also a snapshot. Okay, then here we'll return, first of all we'll check if snapshot dot has data, then we do something. Now for us, the reason why we are having this, this function has a return type of widget but does not end with a return. So we need to return a widget here in case the snapshot is not available. So we need to return a widget that will be presented in case of absence of data. So this will be presented to us in case the data is not available. So in case there is data, then we'll have to just copy this code here and then bring it here and say return. Okay, so now here if the data is present, we are going to return, we are going to build our list of posts that we are receiving from WordPress. So in order to do so, yeah, let's check that and see if we have an error there. Good. So you see in the console the response has been printed. So this means that we have data which is being written, and now it's time to display our data into our application. Okay. So that having printed, we'll just comment this for now. Okay, yeah, we'll turn our list and let's build that. Then we get errors. Okay, the reason why we are having that error is because I generated a list view and then inserted our custom list item. So, and we are also rebuilding the list view here, so that will cause an error on the widget. So the solution to that is we have to cut this custom list item and remove it from this list view. So we'll remain with that and say child. So we say child will be our custom list. So save. So this one is also, I think, causing errors. So what we'll do is we are going to remove all these expanded widget, and then just remain with our custom list. Good. Yes, now we have our custom list, but then we have an issue with the menu. The menu is being repeated every time. So what we'll do with that is I've just commented out this menu item because it's being repeated in our list there. We need to remove it. We'll fix that. So now here what we need is to get the items which are being printed. So what we'll do is simply just define a variable here. Let's say API data will equal to snapshot dot data dot have index, and this one will be so this will be now our variable that we are going to use to assign different fields with data. So we'll start by copying that and then assigning it to so the title we have is this is supposed to be a subtitle, and this has to be our title. Yeah, right here. So save, and let's check. Good. So we have our titles right there. So what we'll do is we go to subtitle, and but before we go to subtitle, let's go to image, and let's just API data. Let's go to the API first and see what we have. We have featured image. And inside feature image we have we can use thumbnail image for this. So you can use any, but I have chosen thumbnail. So now this one, it will not be image asset. Our application is now good. So we are fetching now this data from our application, our REST API. So if we good, so you see the progress bar loads if the data is not available, and that when it's available disappears, and then this is what we have. Okay, so we can go ahead and add some padding to our list. So to do so, we'll come here and wrap this one into padding widget. Good. So now we have applied padding to our list, and now we have our menu right there. Okay, that's it.